In Islam, Tawheed, the unification or oneness of Allah, is its most fundamental and important doctrine. The antonym, or its opposite, will be shirk. Shirk is to give something that belongs to Allah to other than Allah. It's a partnership.
When there is a partnership, I am the one who does not need that partnership. So whoever wants to engage in such partnership between me and someone else, I withdraw and I leave the two of them to do their thing. This is Allah's plan.
So what is shirk? Shirk is to give the rights of Allah to other than Allah. The definition you must memorize. To give the rights of Allah to other than Allah. When you take something that is due to Allah and you ascribe it to another being, whether it's a name or attribute, whether it's a quality of lordship, whether it is a power, whether it is an act of worship, anytime you give something that is due to Allah to other than Allah, you have committed shirk.
As you've heard, shirk is to attribute to something other than Allah something that is only due to Allah. Doing so creates a partner with Allah, and that is the ultimate sin in Islam. Listen again to a specific way to commit shirk, according to Yasir Qadi.
Whether it's a name or attribute.
You can commit shirk in Islam by giving a name that's only due to Allah to someone or something other than Allah. In Tawheed, Muslim scholars have categorized or classified 3 different ways to affirm and believe in Allah's oneness.
Believing in the ultimate unity of Allah implies, number 1, believing that Allah is one and unique in His lordship. Number 2, believing that Allah is one and unique in His names and attributes. And number 3, that believing that Allah is one and unique in His right to be worshipped. These are 3 different areas that we unify Allah in.
Did you catch that second category? Remember, it's shirk to give a name to something or someone other than Allah. Let's delve into this category of Tawheed. It's called Tawheed al-Isma' wa Sifat, the unification or oneness of the names and attributes of Allah.
Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat is based on not naming Allah or describing Allah with other than what He Himself described Himself with, or His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. End of story. The beautiful names and attributes only come from Allah and the Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam.
Man, this is heavy duty stuff. I know some of you are gonna leave and go, man, this is tough. But understanding the subject, brothers and sisters in Islam, is a key to understand the Quran. Imagine this. Let me break that definition down for you, and the definition is not done yet. First of all, you need to understand this. No one can talk about Allah except Allah and His Messenger.
Let's put aside the fact that he's speaking about Allah and he's neither Allah nor His Messenger. But between these two sheikhs, we see that Tawheed al-Isma wa Sifat, the oneness of Allah's names and attributes, are names given to Allah by Him and His Messenger that only belong to Allah. Here's a clip of an Egyptian polemicist who's arguing that Shia Muslims violate this category of Tawheed because they give the names that belong to Allah and Allah alone to their imams, who they believe are infallible, and thus are guilty of shirk.
توحيد الأسماء والصفات، وهو أن تثبت لله تبارك وتعالى ما أثبته لنفسه في القرآن وما أثبته له رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. أبى الشيعة أن يقروا بهذا التوحيد. يقول الله تبارك وتعالى: ولله الأسماء الحسنى فادعوه بها وذروا الذين يلحدون في أسمائه. لكن الشيعة أرادوا الإلحاد في أسماء الله تبارك وتعالى، فروى محمد بن يعقوب الكليني في كتابه الكافي عن أبي عبد الله عليه السلام قال: ولله الأسماء الحسنى. عن أبي عبد الله عليه السلام قال: نحن أسماء الله الحسنى، أي آل البيت. فحينما يريد الشيعي أن يدعو يا رحمن ارزقني، يا ودود، يا سميع، يا عليم، يقول يا حسن ارزقني، يا حسين اشفني، عياذا بالله، لأن الأئمة هم أسماء الله تبارك وتعالى. سنرى الآن أحد كبار علماء الشيعة وهو يسمى أحمد الشيرازي، وهو يقر أن أسماء الله تبارك وتعالى هم آل البيت.
If a person says, I believe Allah is one as a Lord, He is my creator. But then he says, I also believe that other people are all knowledgeable, just like Allah. So he said, Allah created me, this is my Lord. But then he says, this human being is all knowledgeable. This saint can forgive my sins. This entity can grant me a child other than Allah. So he has not believed in another Lord, but he has given powers, names, attributes that belong to Allah to other than Allah.
Did you see that? Because the Shia give names of Allah to their Imams, names that according to Tawheed belong to Him and to Him alone, are guilty of shirk. Here's an excerpt of 2 Islamic books from Answering Islam that Sam Shamoun compiled on the topic of Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat. In just focusing on the bolded lines here, I want to really hammer home this point. Quoting from the book in Sam's article, Shirk in Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat is to give other than Allah the qualities, attributes which are specific to Allah alone, unquote. And to quote from Ibn al-Qayyim, quotes, to name idols or other beings with the names of Allah, unquote. So Ibn al-Qayyim says to name something other than Allah with the names of Allah is ilhad, which means to say something that is not true, to say something that is false. And as the other sheikhs said and scholars have said, to do that is shirk, the ultimate sin in Islam. What are the names of Allah? In Islam, Muslims have identified 99 names that they believe belong to Allah and are uniquely His. They say that these can be found in the Hadith and in the Quran. To attribute anyone with these names other than Allah, as we've seen, will be a violation of Tawheed and therefore the ultimate sin in Islam, shirk. For the sake of time, let's focus on 5 names of Allah in Islam. Al-Haq, the truth, Al-Ba'ath, the resurrection, Al-Malik, the king, Al-Awwal, the first, and Al-Akhir, the last. Let's turn to the Quran. In chapter 6, verse 62, it claims that Allah is the truth, Al-Haq. In John 14, verse 6, Jesus states that He is the truth, Al-Athiyah, Al-Haq. In chapter 22, verse 7 in the Quran, it states that the hour is coming where Allah is the one who raises the dead. And it uses the verb to raise, yab'ath, where Muslims get the name al-ba'ath, the resurrection, from. 2 points here. Number 1, in John chapter 5 verse 25, Jesus says that the hour in which the dead will be raised will do so at the voice of the Son of God, His own voice. And secondly, in John chapter 11 verse 25, Jesus states that He is the resurrection. He says, I am the resurrection. Ighumi I Anastasius. Ana huwa al-ba'ath. In chapter 59, verse 23 in the Quran, Allah is said to be the King, Al-Malik. In Revelation, chapter 19, verse 16, it says Jesus' name is the King of Kings. Vasilios Vasilion. Malik al-Maluk. In chapter 57, verse 3 of the Quran, we find 2 of the names of Allah, the first and the last, Al-Awwalu wal-Akhir. In Revelation chapter 1, verse 17 and 18, we see Jesus says that He is the first and the last. I am the first and I am the last. Ighwami I prostos ki I eschatos. Ana huwa al-Awwalu wal-Akhir. What we saw in this video were Muslim scholars stating that Tawheed is to believe that there are names and attributes of Allah that belong to Him and to Him alone, and to attribute any of His attributes or names to something or someone other than Him is shirk. Now in Christianity, we don't believe that this is shirk. We don't believe that this is polytheism or partnership or a violation of God's oneness. For example, to say that Jesus is the truth is true, because Jesus is the truth. He is God. That's not a violation of God's triunity in Christianity. But according to Islamic standards, as we've seen from Muslim scholars, their own definitions, Jesus here is claiming to be God because he attributes to himself something, the names, the attributes that Muslims believe that are to be given to Allah and Allah alone. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope it can be a blessing to you. Jesus is Lord.